Hey, everybody.
My head's cut off.
That's the best improvement I've ever seen.
Just a little off the top. A little off the top. I'm glad you checked this. Whoops, wrong.
Wrong button. Oh, yeah. It's because I'm trying to adjust it with my laptop.
How did you move in the first place?
Well, I'm using the right mouse, wrong keyboard.
That was quite alarming. Yeah, that's fine. Lock it down, for God's sake.
Let's go somewhere a little more comfortable to meet to talk to everyone.
How come you think he's flipping like that?
Like what?
It flipped from Atari all the way to Art Sinclair. Like, why did that happen?
Because I'm using the scroll wheel.
Oh, man.
I didn't. Yeah.
See that? See that?
Yeah, I'm scroll wheel, man. It's okay. It's okay.
All right, as long as you know what you're doing, and I say that knowing that you don't.
I don't have a good setting room for us.
Can we just go to the... There you go.
Hey, everybody. Officially now.
Man. I'm sorry, everybody, earlier, because Brent just randomly just does stuff without telling me, without cause, just randomly causes. He is an agent of chaos, like the Joker.
Or option B, someone wasn't listening.
Yeah, no.
We'll let you, the fans, be the judge.
I think the people know that it was your fault.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah. And they know I was adjusting the camera and doing technical things while you were here, whatever you were doing, using the wrong keyboard most of the time. You better remember that when it's time to change scenes and stuff. Otherwise, you're going to be boned. Why do you even need your laptop today, the Brent?
Just notes.
You took notes? I've seen it all.
Well, no, mainly I need it for dates.
Oh, well, listen. You're married, for God's sakes. Please stay off Tinder.
Noob, are you saying the sound sounds weird? Or where we are down in the corner looks weird?
He's talking about the us being in the corner.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, we're back. So this is
only OBS puts ARG in the corner.
Yeah, this is the second week of our new computer setup, and the first time we've done Atari Unlimited on the new computer.
Yeah, I had to transfer all the files over today.
Yeah, and so as you can imagine, it's a cataclysmic disaster in the making, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, but I think we've got everything lined up. Plus, it's funny, we had everything. I had this arcade / studio cleaned up, locked, cocked, and ready to rock.
Yeah,
I was playing
looked pretty
pinball.
good.
I took pictures, and then Brent's son came in last night and wanted our claw machine. So in the middle of the dark,
wait a minute.
Sucker.
To be fair, the arrangements were always he's going to get that claw machine. However, we didn't expect a midnight rendezvous.
I'm going to give Christian credit. I'll tell you why.
Because he said, you know what? I'm going to get a little blue for a second. Because I wanted to talk about this.
Don't get too blue.
I'm not. Right? Christian is like a lot of us, right? He's out there half-assing it. Okay? Yes.
Because I was going to put him over.
No, I know. But much like all of us half-assers out there, okay, there is a segment of time when we engage full assitude. And that's what happened last night with him. He fully locked in. He was like, we got to do this right now.
Well, what got me is our Brent's grandbaby had her very first birthday. It's a big party.
Yeah.
Big party. Big
super
spread.
Nice.
It's the best party I've ever been to. A birthday party for this kid. Food, cake, those brownies are off the charts. But Christian and me talked, and I said, come and get this claw machine. He goes, okay, what about today? And I was like, sure, that sounds fine, but I didn't think he was going to come today. You know, it's one of those things you say, like, you know, how you feeling? I'm okay, you know.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, I heard a knock on my door last night at 6:30, and it was him. He's like, hey, are you ready to move the claw machine? And he caught me, because I was in bed watching TV, relaxing. And so, but without knowing what I was saying, I was like, sure, I'm ready to go. And then the next thing I knew, I was in here moving something. I'm like, what the hell happened? You know, so so in actuality, he actually was one of the few people I know who did exactly what they said they were going to do.
Of course, we've been talking about moving that claw machine for, 2 years now?
Yeah, so now where the claw machine was, it's a big empty spot.
Well, I'd like it to be emptier.
Well,
right now it's full of clutter.
It's not. It's a broom, some extension cords, and some signs you made. That's it. And I've swept it out, so...
And to be fair, yeah, I know what you guys are thinking, or some of you are thinking. 6:30, lazy bums. What the heck's going on? Now 6:30 was pitch black.
Yeah.
the sun had went home.
That's true.
And
plus, I thought after his big day, I figured he'd be kind of tuckered out, but I forgot he's not old.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because I sat around at a party when I got home. I'm like, man, I'm out of gas. Time for a quick nap. You know?
They made me sit upright for several hours.
Yeah. So, but that was, hey, I'm glad. It's one of those things where I hated it. I deplored it. I was hurting. I was scared. Then it was gone, and now I'm happy it's gone. So that's one less thing. Now we got to move stuff out of your basement up the hill here, which won't be that much. The stuff's a lot lighter.
To be fair,
much lighter.
to be fair, he will be just as motivated.
Good.
And you saw him go.
Yeah, he was good. So it was good. But now we've made room for. I believe we're going to put the Xbox kiosk in that spot. I'm looking to get my.
No.
Okay. I thought the
claw
Xbox
machine's going
to go over by the door.
Oh, you're right in front of the door. You're correct.
I'm looking at a way to get my virtual pinball machine out here, but it's going to require us to reduce our pinball machine load by 2. With the one in my house and one of the ones out here. So I've been eyeballing. I was going to talk to you about that. If you were going to part with one of those, I know which one you'd want to get rid of.
Well, yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man.
I love the look of that machine.
I do too. Get it out of here.
Well, I don't want to get rid of any of our machines, so maybe we just won't put the pinball machine out here.
Now, Aaron, we should address the elephant in the room. You. No. We should address the elephant in the room of why we did not have an Atari Unlimited last week.
And by we, you mean you.
Us.
It had nothing to do with me.
No, that's not true.
What are you talking about?
We were because we didn't go on Sunday because of your family illitude. Remember, we canceled because everyone in your family was sick and no one else wanted to die.
No, that's not why we canceled.
Yes.
I was good to go on Sunday.
No, that is why we.
That's not why we canceled.
That is why we canceled.
Listen, I could go to the notes that you wrote me that said, "Let's go on Tuesday," and you didn't say anything about being sick.
No, that's
go ahead.
Yeah,
keep going
that's
with
why.
That's not true. Go ahead.
So on Tuesday came.
He twists the history of things. Incorrect.
No.
I'm telling you.
Was Teresa sick on Sunday?
No. She was out in Matewan doing a ghost hunt.
No.
She was too.
Was Luke sick on Sunday?
No. Nobody was sick.
Why didn't Dad come in that weekend?
Because Teresa had been sick that last week.
Thank you.
But that's not why. It had nothing to do with why Sunday didn't happen. It was all him.
On Tuesday came, and my HVAC system went out. And I was like, oh, crap. I've got to do something about this right now.
Yeah.
So I started fiddling with the HVAC. Full disclosure, I know nothing about. I can't spell HVAC.
You know what I like about your stories? If I jump in for just a second.
Oh, you jump in? That's a shocker.
Oh
my gosh, he's jumping in, folks.
I like when you say full disclosure, and you'd say it a lot because people just assume that most of the time you're lying. No. That's what I like. Because you just got off lying, and now you're like, but full disclosure, this is the ultimate truth. I wouldn't screw with you this time.
If someone reminds me, I'll post the text messages.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and post them.
In the Discord.
Yeah, he's lying.
So, I started trying to figure out what's wrong with the HVAC system. Guess what? I couldn't figure out. Well, I know it's a shocker. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the HVAC system. He can't
spell HVAC.
Aaron, I just made that joke, Mister. I don't listen.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, that's why you can't remember that Teresa was sick on Sunday.
Teresa was sick?
So, what's a Teresa?
She was.
So I had to call in. I had to call in the HVAC people, and the HVAC people came out and said, "Listen, we can fix your HVAC for like $1,500. I was like, okay, but
I thought it was $1,200.
No, after all the fees and
they get to the back end.
Yeah.
All right, I get it.
So they were like, but we want to show you the inside of your HVAC. I was like, okay, because I inherited this from my dad, and they said inside of your HVAC. And showed me the pictures. It's like it's a little rusty. And by a little rusty, it looked like someone had let loose a rust monster inside of the HVAC.
Yeah. Those things mess up your arm, too.
and I was like, oh, that looks bad. He said, no, don't worry about it. You probably got another year before it all goes to seed. I was like, oh.
Right.
So Terry and I talked, and we were like, listen, it seems silly to put $1.5 grand into our HVAC system if we're just going to have to replace it again, something in the summer. So let's at least get a quote for a whole new HVAC. So we got a quote for a whole new HVAC.
Yeah.
And the guy had to come out and do all the routines. HVAC, $15,000. And we were like, well, listen, it's stupid to not do this.
It's stupid to do it. Either way it goes, it's stupid.
When can we set up an appointment to have this thing installed? And the dude was like, because I thought it was going to be, a month out. Because these people are notorious about that kind of thing. He was like, yeah, we'll have a crew here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So we signed on the dotted line and watched our money fly away.
Yeah.
So the HVAC crew came out, and I told the sales guy, I said, sales guy, I've got one demand. Because I've got no cards here, right? I've got no HVAC system. I've got nothing I can be like, oh, no, we're going to get the other guy to come do it. I said, the one thing you have to do is underneath the house, there's a filter to the HVAC system. And I mean, crawl space underneath the house. It's like, I want the filter moved to be somewhere it's accessible. He said, no problem. I said, and you have to take that other filter out. And the salesman was like, no problem. Shing. It's like, okay. So the crew comes out to put in the HVAC system. Real nice folks. I want to shout out, although not sponsored, because they cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, don't shout them out.
Best Virginia, real nice folks.
Shysters.
So Aaron didn't deal with them.
Yeah, they're all shysters.
Aaron's an idiot also. So they're under there taking the old filter out, and one of them comes in and it's like, hey, like, where's your water main at? And I was like, water main? I was like, that's weird. So I went out and I pointed out the water main, and I was thinking in my head, I'm surprised that the HVAC needs a water supply. That's really odd to me. But again, I don't know
the inner rust mechanism.
I don't know.
That's how they use it. There's a sprinkler in there.
I don't know anything about HVAC systems, so I'm just like, okay, sure, water main. They turn off the water to the house. A few hours go by, and they pop their head back in. It's like, hey, we turned the water back on. I was like, okay. I guess they did whatever they needed to do. Well, what I didn't know until Terry told me later, when they were under there wrestling that filter out, they broke my plumbing. So it was them repairing the plumbing in the mud because they had broken one of the pipes, and it had fallen apart so bad that the water was just constantly pouring out. So they had to get back in there and fix that. Oh, also, during this time, my toilet broke. So I had to fix the toilet. Also, my car stopped working. Yes. So I tried to fix the car myself. I replaced
Never a good idea.
Replaced the negative lead on the battery, which easy job, and I'm very proud that I did it myself. Didn't fix the problem. So I had to limp my car to the car dealership, and the car guy was like, yeah, we can fix this for $650. I was like, oh.
That's jump change compared to the HVAC. Pay the man.
So I had to get my car repaired, and all this time, my wife is still working, and I take care of our sister-in-law, so I'm having to get to and from and do all that stuff, and I was done. It was a dark week for me.
Yeah.
And now we are back. All of that has been resolved. Minus the incredible amount of cash we have to come up with.
It's a good thing you're loaded with water.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be scared to death.
Unfortunately, the wad I have is not worth much.
Yeah.
So
not anymore.
But that is why we didn't have an Atari Unlimited, because my house imploded and my car died.
The thing is, you didn't have to try to pull me into the car, but you have plenty of good excuses why we didn't do the show.
Carpet?
Pull me into the pit, act like part of it was my
Oh,
fault.
it was.
I had nothing to do with it, none of this. I was good to go. But he had a good excuse. So what we're going to do is, So now we're a week behind schedule, and I hate being off schedule.
Oh yeah, it really hurts.
So we're going to, well, at some point in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna double up.
Yeah.
We'll do a Coco show and R. Sinclair, perhaps.
Yeah.
I believe those are the next two things we have on the docket.
They are.
And so, but we'll talk to you about that when the time comes. Because this is going to be a big old show. A big one. I've had 2 weeks to prep. So I've got side stories to beat the band. Clear off your schedules, folks. You think 2.5 hours of conversation with Dark Side was a long show? You ain't seen nothing yet. 6 hours. It's a mini-series.
I have to say my prep is somewhat less because I spent this week crying into my own hands.
Well, listen. You know, that whole thing with the inside of your thing's rusty, you need a new one.
No, they showed me pictures.
I believe it, but that's on angle. None of that stuff matters.
No.
I would have just kept right on trucking. It's the Dowdy way. Don't fix nothing fully. Just put a Band-Aid on it.
And what's crazy is the thing that broke on it was the heating part of the HVAC, right? And he shows me the pictures of that first, and it's immaculate. Yeah. It's beautiful. It has no problems at all.
Dad changed that out a couple years ago.
Unfortunately, the air conditioning side of it looked. it was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, but that's how they get you. It's a hose job. You got hose.
Oh no, there surely was hoses involved.
All these suckers are dishonest. Don't trust none of them.
Oh, give me a break.
Hey, it's the way it is. I know how these people are.
You're an idiot.
Hey, listen, I worked for a dishonest car dealer. I know all the tricks.
Oh yeah, Aaron. No one who employs you is someone I would trust anyway.
But wait a minute, I'm employed by the state police.
Bam.
What do you say? You don't trust the cops? Nobody likes the cops until they're getting robbed and their house on fire. Then they love the cops. That's all right. I never thought I'd see what it was like to be on the other side of the thin blue line. I'm at the fattest part of the thin blue line.
I was going to say, they had to expand the line when you came on.
Yeah, I know. Big fat guy. It's a big laugh. Yeah. All right. Should we get this pathetic hoedown cooking?
Sure.
I mean, you didn't sound like you were fully. Do you need to check any of the scenes, make sure it's not, jacked up?
Nah, we'll go with it.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the problem.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story.
All right.
I don't think I mentioned this.
I've already told a story.
This is a short story.
You couldn't help but interrupt it, but go right ahead.
Well, no, I just want to point something out. I'm here to amuse and delight. So when we did Conversation with Darkside 2 weeks ago, Windows did an update and turned my microphones off on all my scenes. You know, that shtick. So when we started the show, I was just, and keep in mind that I'm the MC. I start the show, introduce the people on it, the whole 9 yards. Fly could hear me, but no one else could, and the recording couldn't. So what am I going to do? I eventually fixed that after about 2 minutes in. So I had to do something I've never done before in my whole life. I had to go in and voice over myself and try to match it up and try to remember what I said on my intro.
Which I know.
It was the most surreal thing I've ever done.
I know you. You had no chance of remembering what you actually said.
Well, luckily I had sort of semi-rehearsed the intro, as I do sometimes, but it just didn't match up. I came close. And the thing is, there were a couple points in the intro where I went like this, and so I can match up with my overacting. I can match in. But how they did it in these old movies, it's a miracle. I don't know how they pulled it off. The voiceover, so it's hard. So, it happens. These things happen. I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. But after talking about my ineptitude, let's show more of it. I'm going to voice myself over in real time, ladies and gentlemen.
You gotta.
This is the only show on earth that can say that's going to happen.
And Brandon, it actually be true. All right, Aaron, you ready?
Yeah, I'm sort of ready. Let's
All right, folks, we're going to go to a black screen and then happiness to follow.
Yeah.
Happiness.
I hope.
Happiness.
Atari just reinvented the video game.
Atari Unlimited. Atari Unlimited. Atari Unlimited.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another Atari Unlimited. This is the show where we talk about all Atari all the time. I'm your good buddy, your good pal, Amigo Aaron. Joined by Mr. Atari himself, the Brent.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing, Brent?
I've been better, but I've certainly been worse.
It sounds like you had a great week. And there's nothing better to top off a week like that than some Atari Unlimited. Now, Brent, I'm excited about this week's episode.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. and you brought this up yourself last time we did Atari Unlimited, and what you brought up with was that every time we've covered Atari in these first few shows, it's been sort of calamity after calamity, a nonstop destruction and pain, because we've covered stuff like the Jaguar and the 130. But this week, we're going to talk about the time that Atari ruled the world.
Yes.
When Atari was #1 with a bullet, when everyone was chasing Atari because they were so awesome. And we're going to tell you how it all came about, because we're going to be talking about this beauty right here, the Atari VCS, a.k.a. the Atari 2600. Before we get into the history of and how it all came to be, now granted, you're several years younger than me. So
yes.
What are your earliest memories of the VCS?
Well, as you know, our cousin had one.
Yeah.
And I do remember several games from it. I remember playing the heck out of River Raid.
Yeah.
Kaboom, Combat. Those are the main three that I have vivid memories of.
Sure.
And River Raid was one of those games that locked me in as a video game player for life.
Yeah.
So that was if I had to point to the most influential game in Atari, for me it would have been River Raid. But Kaboom is way up the list too.
Yeah, both very, very popular games you talk about there from Activision. So, we're just going to jump right in, because there's sort of a lot to get through here. Because I'm not going to go super deep into the woods. There's some interesting factoids, I think, that
sure.
may be overlooked. So, let's talk about the early days of Atari. Of course, Atari was founded in 1972 by Ted Dabney and Nolan Bushnell. And, of course, they released really what you would consider, now this is arguable, but they released what's considered the first viable arcade machine, money-making machine, which was Pong.
Sure.
And I mean, a video game. Obviously, there were plenty of amusement machines, for decades and
Absolutely.
decades before that. So, Pong, once it was released, was copied ad nauseum in the arcade.
Yes.
For the obvious reasons. It wasn't... Once people got a hold of the technology and saw how it worked, it wasn't that difficult to clone that. And, of course, the next logical step was to make some sort of Pong-based system for the home use. And so, which Atari did. But that was also, that was cloned to a ridiculous degree.
Yes.
Everyone and their brother had a clone of Pong. And we should mention that, even the original Pong, you could trace it back to the original Odyssey. That's a whole other story there, the way the original Pong, because, there's an argument to be made that Bushnell sort of worked to Pong, the whole concept of Pong, but we're not going to touch on that this week. So, the boys at Atari, especially Bushnell, they knew that having consoles that played a game or two was not going to make you that much money in the consumer market. And so what they thought about doing was some sort of home game machine or game console that would play multiple games. The problem was that in the early 70s, microprocessors were expensive. You're talking a couple hundred, you can talk $125 and up for a microprocessor that could do the job.
Yeah.
That changed in 75 when MOS Technologies introduced the 6502 processor. Now, 6502, which went on to be in,
everything.
It was in Apple machines, and it was in other video games. It was in a lot of home computers. It came out, and this was one of the reasons it was such a incredible value. You could get those things for $25.
Yeah.
Now, that's a good deal, but most people thought that was still too much to make money at home. So, MOS Technologies and Atari got together. They're like, listen, what can you do for us? Well, MOS Technologies is preparing to release a processor called the 6507, which was a cost-reduced version of the 6502. It had fewer, I believe it had fewer banks of memory, fewer memory lines. And so you got that one at a discount. And Atari negotiated with MOS Technologies. And get this, they were getting these things for $12.
Woo!
So if you think about it, this is, by the way, I've never really dug into the guts of the machine like I did this week. It's interesting to see how microprocessors came from hundreds to into the 10s and 20s, and now you're getting them for $12.
Yeah.
And it shows you why the 6502 and 6507 were so popular, because really, Moth Technology really did solid when they brought that thing down. So, this is when they started toying with the idea of having and looking at the concept of having a home computer. In 75, the later part, they brought in a guy named Joe DeCure, who was hired by Atari to debug what they were working on, their prototype. And so he had, get this, so you've heard the term Stella, that's what the big time emulation software for Atari was called. And the reason they call it that's because that was the name of the prototype console, and it was named after Joe's bike. Now, I'll try to find more information on this, and I'd like to. And if I ever come up with anything, I'll let you know. But I thought that was an interesting. I always wonder where that came from, because I just assumed it's just like Amiga, just like chicks at work, people's wives. So once they fooled with the first prototype, they kicked in on the second prototype. Around March of 76, they finished it. Get this. This is a great tie-in. One of the guys that were working on its second prototype was Jay Miner, father of Amiga. He created the interface that hooks you up to the television. It's called the TIA, the Television Interface Adapter. That was Jay Miner's. He was the guy that really put that together. So something unfun happened. Atari needed money, because to put this console out, it's going to cost some bucks they didn't have.
Sure.
So it was time to make that deal with Devil Number One. And so in October 76, Nolan Bushnell talked to Warner Communications, and Warner purchased Atari to the tune of $28 million.
Woo!
Okay, now, that money was to go to working on the prototype to get a console ready. So Warner provided an additional $120 million to finish the project. So they were in for $148 million on this, but they bought Atari at this point, so they're working on their own thing. Now, something funny happened on the way to release the console. Somebody else released a console, and that was the Channel F, which came out in 76, and it debuted. It was the first cartridge-based console. Now, I have touched the Channel F. I've never played a Channel F, and it's one of those things I don't own. But I have played it. We played on ARG a couple years ago, a couple times, and the games they definitely have an interesting look and feel to them. But you could tell that really it was a pretty archaic game machine compared to what the Atari would become.
I'm sure it was a rush to market to be first.
Maybe, I don't know. You never know how many. I don't know how many these companies even knew what each other were working on at the time. So they released that in 76, but that didn't deter anybody. And by 77, Atari had enough to brand the VCS and start developing games. And they released the VCS in 1977, right?
Year I was born.
Really?
Yep.
That's crazy. And your birthday's coming up too, so you're going to be 52, right? So get this. It's quiz time. Are you ready?
All right.
What was the price that the Atari debuted at in 1977? The debut cost.
I know it was crazy.
And let me tell you before you answer.
All right.
You got what's called the Heavy Sixer. The one we've got on display if you're looking at home. This is a 4-switch. The Heavy Sixer had 6 switches. It came with 2 joysticks, and it came with paddles. Okay, 2 paddles. That's what you got. And you got the release game, which was Combat. That's what you got for your money. How much did it cost? People in the chat, you can guess too.
I'm going to say $3.99.
$3.99. You're close, but you're way off. They brought this thing in for $199. Now, sounds great. This is 1977.
Sure, I know.
I'll look this up. In today's money, I couldn't believe this. I had to double check 3 times. According to the calculations, but the way everything works, by today's money, $200 in 1977 is $1,063.
Yeah.
Does that seem right to you?
Well,
$1,000?
Yeah, it does. It does. Because I mean, this was new. This was something that had not been done to this caliber before.
Right. Well,
and like you said, you get a crap ton of stuff. That's why I thought it cost so much.
It's funny that when you think about consoles like the Neo Geo and the 3DO, where people thought, man, this thing costs a fortune.
And it did.
But the Atari, I mean, this was no cheap date. It's amazing to me that our uncle, who lived in a trailer out Cabin Creek, somehow scratched together the money to get an Atari. So anyway.
Well, he definitely didn't get one in 77.
Let's talk about, before we get into it, let's talk about the console itself. Now, again, the original console was called the Heavy Sixer. The one I've got here is the 4-switch. I don't have a Heavy Sixer, I'm afraid. But the Heavy Sixer had 2 additional switches in the front, and there were difficulty switches that got moved to the back of this one.
And a much cheaper switch.
You've got your cartridge slot here, and you've got your joystick ports around back. And the joysticks for this thing, of course, are legendary joysticks. The old Atari Special. This one's been decorded, but you can see it's got the legendary orange button.
Yes,
it's a great stick. I mean,
solid.
And the thing is, did they break? They did, but these things took a beating before they went out.
Yes,
this is something you don't hear that much about. This is the paddle set right here, which is in the box, and these are the Atari paddles. Now, Atari was smart to include these because they knew one of their releases was going to be Pong or Pong-like games, and you needed paddles for that. Hold that box for a second, Brent. And so you can see, if you've never seen these before, you've got your red button here, and it's just a paddle controller. These things were solid gold money, Brent. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, they were really good.
They opened the door to a lot of great games, and the added bonuses, unlike a lot of machines that would come after Atari, Atari knew that to gain wide acceptance, of course, at this point, Atari was making all their games, so this is sort of trivial. But they knew that you'd have to give everyone these paddles so you could sell them the game.
Yeah. And
that's what they did. So, now we're going to play a new game, the Brent. What were the launch titles? Let's see if you can game any of these.
Now, I know I can't, because I guess one of them was going to be boxing, and you said I was way off.
Boxing was made by Activision, too. So I'm going to go down these. Now, listen. These games do not instill confidence in the machine. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'll explain
Obviously,
why.
one's going to be Combat, because that was the package.
Combat was one. So here are your launch titles.
All right.
There were 9 launch titles. They were 2K cards. They were small, okay? Blackjack, and it's cards. Surround, you know what that is. That's the old Snake, right? Basic Math, something that you still can't do. I'm going to buy you that for Christmas. Video Olympics, which was like about 1 million different versions of like Pong games.
Yeah.
Combat, of course. Air Sea Battle, which is like a target shooter. Starship, right? Street Racer, and Indy 500. Now, Indy 500 had a special driving control paddle, which, So I remember seeing this. I don't remember much about the differences of that one.
No, I don't either.
So this thing, again, we mentioned it sold for $200. They also licensed this out to Sears, who sold the Atari to the Telegames Video Arcade. I just sold a couple of these. I had a couple that got cheap. So now, here's the last trivia question. How many Ataris do you think they sold in 1977?
Well, I know it released. It released fairly late in the year, right?
I think I said September. Is that what I said?
So they were shooting for the Christmas season. I'm going to say they sold
September. They released in September.
10,000.
Boy, you're way off. In 1977, estimates and experts agree that Atari sold between 350 and 400,000 units.
Wow, at that price, crazy.
Now,
crazy.
That was considered not that successful. And Atari said, okay, we think we know why it wasn't that successful.
Ching, ching, ching,
now people are trying to get you that this is a new concept. People don't fully understand what's going on.
Sure.
They used all the usual things. So 1978 rolled around. They made 800,000 consoles, but they only sold 550,000. So they actually lost money in 1978. So a lot of people think that the VCS, including myself, was a runaway success. It was not. Like, they struggled with believe it or not, these numbers, they weren't meeting the numbers that they thought they would. So in 1979, Nolan Bushnell left Atari because he had gotten into a fight with Warner over what would be the successor, the 2600. And he was gone. Also, people that left Atari were ultimately the people who founded Activision, because they were mad that they weren't getting recognized, their names weren't on their stuff, they weren't making enough money. So you lost your David Cranes, your Paul Kitchens, these guys, they were gone.
Yep.
You know, and you think to yourself, this is a bad sign. Well, luckily for Atari, King Dong was honing into view. And what's considered the first killer application for a home VCS was the 1980 Atari 2600 version of Space Invaders.
Yes, that I could have guessed.
Now, Space Invaders, not to get too deep in the woods, was a runaway worldwide hit.
Yes.
Including here, where I played it at Hex.
It sold tens of millions.
And I played the heck out of this back in the day. I own a Space Invaders cocktail that my son uses for a desk right now in his room, so I still got that thing. So get this. Remember how I told you they operated at a loss in 78? They lost all these guys in 79 and 80. Atari sold over 1 million consoles in 1 year. Like, they went nuts. Also released in 80 was Adventure, which was another huge hit, and of course had the legendary Easter egg in it that everyone talks about, which was the author's name. And also, that's when they started using games that operated a different way. So, when they released Asteroids in 1980, Asteroids, of course, the brilliant arcade vector game.
Yes.
That was made by Atari. It was the first of many games that used bank switching, which is a technique that I can't explain, but it allowed 8 kilobyte or larger cartridges. So now you're operating with more advanced games. And so there you go. Now, you're starting to make a roll here. And of course, when you get on a roll, you're going to get people, other competitors, stuff coming out of the woodwork. So as time went on, Atari got more competitors, but also the success was still there. One of the things Atari enjoyed doing was doing movie licenses. So when a lot of their releases were arcade games that were ported down and movie licenses. Now you can debate how successful these were, but I mean, they did it for the Atari 2600, given the limitations of it. I think a lot of the arcade conversions, they ended up having some pretty decent ones. I mean, if you had simple stuff like Asteroids, Frogger, or Space Invaders, those translated quite nicely. When you went into stuff like Defender, for example, you had to really radically change the way it worked. But I mean, a lot of people prefer it. I know Bo prefers Atari Defender. What do you think of how do you feel about the various arcade ports that came to 2600?
Well, here's the thing. The Atari 2600 was made to bring the arcade home.
Yeah.
That was the point of the system.
Yeah.
So you can't get mad at it.
No.
Because it fulfilled its lifelong dream of being the arcade at home.
I agree.
So you have to respect that. Because the top 10 games, or probably 8 of the top 10 games, if not more, were all arcade ports.
Yeah, we'll get into those. So, sometimes, though, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And now comes the dying on the sword. So, we're rolling around. So, you may have heard of this. What was your favorite game when you were a little kid?
River Raid.
No, it was. You didn't have River Raid trash can, River Raid bed springs.
You mean out in anything?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pac-Man.
Pac-Man, you may have heard, was a huge, probably still the biggest video game of all time.
It's up there.
And so there was a lot of hype around its release on the 2600. So Atari began to do the dumbest crap that I've never understood. All right. Now, a lot of people complain about the Atari version of Pac-Man. There were complaints back in the day, right? But everyone I knew had it, and everyone I knew played it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, no one was like, this is exactly like the arcade, but we were used to that.
Yes.
So this was
we were conditioned.
This has been blown up over the years into a bigger story than it was when I was a kid and had Pac-Man. But, I mean, I will admit, there were rumblings that it wasn't the best. But the fellow that made it was on a time schedule, yada yada, and and he was also limited because they wouldn't let him use a bigger cart size. They wanted to cheap out.
That was a huge thing.
So, but here's the dumbest thing Atari did. They printed up 12 million game carts, but there were only they printed up more carts than there were Atari consoles. Now, assumably, they assumed everyone would buy it and all future owners would buy it. But I don't know if they've ever heard of a second run. But clearly not.
Now, I want to jump in real quick.
Yeah, jump in.
Remember several shows ago on ARG
Nope.
when we talked about how that dude ordered a ton of extra cabinets for Jack and the Beanstalk,
Yes.
and then it bombed, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's highly believed that there was money laundering involved and money under the table and getting paid to take these contracts. I have to wonder, especially considering where Atari was at this point in time, if there wasn't some of that going on.
And Jack and the Beanstalk, I'll buy it. In this, I think it was rampant corporate stupidity. And the thing is,
possible.
Warner showed time and time again that they didn't know what they were doing.
That's true.
And with Nolan Bushnell out of the picture, they had those early successes in their tenure, and then they tipped over thoroughly.
But, I mean, I think it takes a special class of idiot to make more carts than there are systems in the field.
Well, don't worry. They're not done yet. So, with all that said, Pac-Man sold quite well.
Yeah, it did.
The problem is they were stuck with 5 million unsold carts. Think about that for a minute. Just the storage of that many cartridges.
Yeah, it's insane.
So they sold 7 million cartridges, though. You know, if they just made 8, that'd been okay.
They Laura Croft it. They
Yeah.
said, what do you mean we didn't sell 80 million copies?
Yeah. So, and as if to say, hold my beer. They got a deal going for the movie rights for the license for E.T. Now, I was talking to somebody that said the E.T. people don't get it now, but this movie was the biggest movie of its era.
Yeah.
Like I went to see that with my mom, and we cried at it. It was just me and her. This movie got over. It got over.
Huge.
And so Atari overpaid for it. They paid $20 million for the license for E.T. Okay? Then they said, okay, we've got to get this out for Christmas. We've got 5 weeks. Who can we call? Who's the craziest man on earth? And they asked for volunteers, who could do this? And one man raised his hand, one crazy man.
Close, but not how the story actually goes.
Go ahead, jump in.
They actually, because the person who actually did the game, of course, Howard Scott Warshaw.
Yeah.
He was not the first choice.
Okay, get into it.
His boss was actually called beforehand.
Yeah.
And said, listen, we need this game done. We want you to do it. I can't recall his boss's name right now, but I for reasons later, I'll tell you, I know why this is true. And he said, no. He said, what you're asking is impossible. And Roy was like, okay, thank you for your time. We understand. Hung up the phone.
Ray.
Who'd I say?
Roy.
Oh, sorry, Ray. Picked up the phone, called Warshaw, and I was like, listen, man, can you do this in 5 weeks? And he was like, sure. And they flew him, he had 36 hours to design the game. Not make the game, but design the game. And they put him on a jet and flew him out to Spielberg.
Yeah.
And said, pitch it. Pitch it. You had 36 hours. And Spielberg was like, this is kind of crap. He said, I mean, I like Pac-Man. What's this? And Warshaw was like, Mr. Spielberg, listen, E.T. is going to change the world. The story's wonderful. It's going to make this huge splash. We need the video game equivalent. And he did it. And Spielberg was like, I understand what you're saying, and I agree. Go make the game.
Yeah. I've heard some of that. And there you go. Now, E.T. went on to be a magnificent success and was beloved. No.
Oh, it was.
No,
the movie was.
So E.T. Did make it to the Christmas holiday shopping season. And, of course, Atari being Atari, they're like, listen, we've got a game that was made in 5 weeks. Just to be on the safe side, better print up 4 million cartridges. Well, they managed to sell 1 million. And to be fair, they had less of these sitting around than they did Pac-Man. But they were stuck. And so what happened was, and I can attest to this, So now we begin the thing that some people get sick of hearing about, but I mean, it happened in America. It is what it is. And it was the Great Decline, the video game crash. And it was totally real. Now, can you blame E.T. and Pac-Man for this? No. No, absolutely not. But what you can blame is, by now, you've had, of course, Activision led the way, but you had a lot of third-party software. I was surprised, Brent, when I read that, it was 83, third-party software was responsible for, half the game sales on the Atari. Now, this sounds okay. And listen, you had Imagic, you had Parker Brothers, of course, you had Activision. You had some good people making third-party games, but anyone could do it. And anyone could name whatever price they wanted, and so what happens is you get some duds that come out.
And it wasn't just on Atari; it was on every system that was out in the day.
Yeah. So let's do some numbers here. By 82, Atari had sold 10 million 26 or VCSs,
which is incredible.
All right, at its peak, Atari VCS units were selling for $125. But get this, I'd never heard this until I read it. They only cost $40 to make.
So they were swimming in cash.
They were the profit margins were great. Now here's another one. Game cartridges, you could sell them for between 15 to $25, usually around $20. It only costs $5 to make them.
Yeah.
That's including the packaging.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why you saw so many Atari commercials, was because they could flood the airways. They had the capital to do it.
Well, guess what happened here? Unfortunately, so Atari at this point had decided they were going to start working with the 5200. In 82, they rebranded the VCS to what we now know as the 2600. But keep in mind that all the way up to 82, everyone called this the VCS or just the Atari.
Yeah.
Most people didn't even call it the VCS.
Yeah, it was just the Atari.
So when they decided they were going to release the 5200, they rebranded to the 2600 to go along with the naming nomenclature that was going to be the 5200. So here's something you probably didn't know. Things went south in 83. So get this.
I heard rumor about that.
Between 83 and 84. So in 83... they lost something in the neighborhood of $440 million at Warner on Atari. So Atari lost that much. In 84, by halfway through the year, they'd lost $550 million. Yeah. So between 83 and 84, Atari lost $1 billion.
Yeah. And a lot of that is because they were so caught up. They were so used to being flush with cash that they had no concept of not doing something to the moon.
Well, they also didn't know what they were doing.
Well, that's what I mean.
This plagued Warner. And here's an added bonus. Now, you can talk about how much this may or may not have affected Atari, but at this point, people were starting to clone their system.
Yes.
Coleco had, which I've got this. It's a Coleco had a thing Coleco had a thing you could hook to your 2600 or to your ColecoVision that would play Atari cartridges. There was also the Gemini, which was a standalone Atari clone. Intellivision had a clone, which I've also got, that you can play Atari cartridges in. So now you can play Atari cartridges on tons of stuff that's not Atari.
You know how much impact I think that had on the market?
I don't know.
0.
I think
big old goose egg.
Here's the thing. When you're Atari and you're not making money on the hardware and you're not making as much on the software, it's a problem.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So it was a huge problem. So eventually in 1984, it was time for, once again, he always plays a role in our show. Warner sold the assets of the Atari Consumer Electronics division. Now keep in mind, but at this point, Atari Arcade division was different.
Yes.
Warner sold the assets of Atari's Consumer Electronics division to Jack Tramiel, Angry Jack, in 1984 for $240 million, which means that was a getting out of here price.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So what did Tramiel do? Because we're not done with 2600, by the way. We're not just getting into more history randomly. In 86, under Tramiel, they released a low-cost 2600 model, 2600 Junior.
Yep.
for $50. It's
Yep.
$49. It was backwards compatible, but they also released the 7800, which was supposed to compete with the NES. Now, we're not going to get too deep in the woods. It didn't happen. But the Junior was surprisingly still pretty successful. And Atari games, because there were so many and it was so well known, they lingered.
Yes.
Atari VCS games lingered for years and years.
Absolutely.
So, Brent, here's a fun fact for you. Production of the 2600 ended in 1992
Oh my gosh.
with an estimated 30 million units sold across its lifetime.
Just to put that into consideration,
Yeah.
the Atari came out when I was born and stopped production when I entered high school.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Now, let's see if you can get this one. You'll never get it. What was the last official Atari 2600 game release? And now, Grant, we're ignoring the modern releases.
Sure.
Of its era. What was the last official release?
I will say it was a billiard sports game.
No, it isn't. But so listen, it's 1990 and it's time for Clax. It was Atari Clax was the last official release. So now, before we
Which
move,
was a big hit in the arcade, which is probably why they put it on the system.
before we move on, I want to go through these real quick. I've got the list of the best-selling Atari cartridges.
Yeah, give us
I
1
thought
through 10.
I thought this might be fun.
Yeah, give us 1 through 10.
Well, I've got to see where 10. I will say River Raid's the bottom of this list, but it's more than 10.
Yeah, no.
There are a lot of these things that sold about 1 million cards, so we'll go from above 1 million cards. Okay? You've got Breakout at 1.6, Warlords at 1.7, Centipede at 1.8, Berserk at 1.8, Night Driver at 1.9, Demon Attack at 2 million units, Miss Pac at 2.3, E.T. ultimately sold 2.7 million units. Defender, 3 mil. Asteroids, 3.8 mil. Frogger, 4 mil. Pitfall, 4 mil. Donkey Kong, 4.1 mil. Space Invaders, an impressive 6.2 million.
Yes.
And at the very top of the list, Todd Fry's masterpiece, Pac-Man, sold 8 million copies. So you've got, and that is a lot of action here. You've got quite a few million sellers here.
Absolutely.
And from a multitude of different companies. So that's pretty much the long and short. Oh, before we move on, I should mention this, which is one thing we haven't done. We should at least talk about what's in the Atari, because that's sort of important. The Atari is comprised, as we mentioned, the MOS Technology 6507 that runs at 1.19 megahertz. It's got 128 bytes of memory, no video memory at all. It's got a screen res of 320 by 200, 128 total colors, 2-channel monotone audio, although they got cute with it, including some games that had their own audio. I think Pitfall 2 was one of them. It's supposed to have a media capacity that goes up to 4K, but that was exceeded. It's got 2 joystick ports. It handles paddles, and it has a 120-volt input. There you go. That's the dry stats on this thing. It was a real game changer. And speaking of game, we had to pick a game that sort of exemplified the power and might of this machine. And Brent, you picked it. What did you pick for us?
I picked YAR'S Revenge.
Which, by the way, this was 1 million seller.
Yes.
Well,
there is a reason why we went with YAR'S Revenge here. This was, when you named over that list, right?
Yeah.
Those were almost all either arcade clones.
Yeah.
Made by someone else that wasn't Atari, or had a licensing agreement attached to it. YAR'S Revenge is the highest selling Atari all-in-house video game. And it wasn't supposed to be. YAR'S Revenge was supposed to be a Star Castle port. And
which is a great game.
Yes, it is. Our good friend, our hero of the day, Howard Scott Warshaw, put his efforts in and said, listen, I cannot do Star Castle on the Atari. I can't do it. But I can give you a Star Castle-like game. And that is how YAR'S Revenge came to be. Now, I'm going to hit a few Easter eggs right off the bat before we go into the game proper. Easter egg number 1, this game has an Easter egg in it. If you are able to shoot the enemy ship without firing your gun, with your missile, of course, as it's flying through the neutral zone, and then line up perfectly on a line that appears in the cutscene, it will show Howard Scott's initials. It will show them both frontwards and backwards. Backwards? That's kind of odd. No, it's not, because YAR'S Revenge is Ray spelled backwards. And he wanted to be sure that people caught on to that. Because at this point in Atari, this cutesy stuff, this throwing the extras into the game, was deeply frowned upon. Yeah. And I'm talking get you fired frowned upon. So Ray kind of, I don't know why I keep saying Roy.
Yeah.
Ray kept telling people to stop sticking this stuff in, and HSW kind of did it as a screw you, I'm going to do what I want kind of thing. I'm not going to go too deep into Howard Scott Warshaw, because he could be an entire episode of Atari Unlimited by himself.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to mention is he was so pissed off when all these people left Atari, because he saw it as a backstabbing move, that they were going and making their own company to make games. He hated it.
There's an irony, because he also hated Ray Gazar.
He did.
Which is the guy, that's the Ray you're talking about.
Yes.
Which is the head of Warner's Communications that was over Atari.
And the reason why he hated Ray was on a completely different reason.
Ray didn't know what he was doing.
Ray did not know what he was doing. That's a huge part of it. Some other Easter egg parts of YAR'S Revenge here. It was never a top 10 seller. I think it was like number 14 overall. It did sell approximately 1 million copies. It came with a comic book.
Yeah.
And this was one of the first games ever to do this. And the comic book explained the story. Story of YAR'S Revenge? What are you talking about? Well, YAR'S Revenge is a deep lore.
Yeah.
I'll give you the short version. The humans of Earth were in the future a space traveling species, and they had fueled up their spaceship, and they were ready to go out into space. And when they were doing all this, a fly got on the ship, right? So the ship flies off, it's flying through space, and it smacks into radiation, kills all the humans. But the fly on board not only survived, mutated, and basically made his own race, his own species, propagated throughout the universe. The neutral zone in YAR'S Revenge is supposed to represent that radiation field that he came from, in part. So when the fly mutated, became a whole new race, they were friendly, they were peaceful, they ruled over 3 planets until the big bad guys came in and basically killed them, right? Blew up one of their planets completely. Man. And the flies were like, listen, we can't let this stand, not only for ourselves, but we've got to get out there and save basically the entire universe. Or the evil folks are just going to go through and wreck everybody because they're also murderous. So in YAR'S Revenge, you play as one of the mutated fly species out there trying to take down the big bad. Now, Aaron, if you didn't want to enjoy this story with the pack-in comic, you could also get the recorded audio book of this comic.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
So, I was at an antique store.
Okay.
It's last year, and lo, I came across the YAR'S Revenge book and record. And I was just, as you were sitting here talking, I didn't know you were bringing this up, by the way.
Okay.
As you were sitting here talking, it occurred to me, I wish I'd brought it in here because I know it's in the house.
Oh, you bought it?
But I bought it, and I own the YAR'S REVENGE book and record. I can't remember if I got the record with it or just the book, but I do have it.
Well, I listened. You can find the audio on YouTube. You have to actually do a little bit of digging. It's off some guy's channel that it's one of the only things he's ever done that has reached
It's out there.
any kind of population. But it's okay. Like the guy that's narrating the story and talking actually has passion in his voice. It's well done.
Yeah, Atari released a lot of their games as storybooks for kids. By the way, when I was a kid, like these book records were a big deal.
Yes.
I had a record player, so I had like Batman had them, Spider-Man, and a lot of guys. But the video game guys had some of these too. And Star Raiders was one I didn't have then, but I did have seems like I had like Defender, might have been Asteroids that I had. There were some other ones that I had at least a couple more. So that was the way they did stuff back in the day.
Now, Aaron, you know Pac-Man Fever, huge record, right?
Big time, yeah.
All right. Obviously not to that popularity, but YAR'S REVENGE has its own song.
Really? Who does that one?
I don't know.
There's a rock and roll song?
There is a song
Okay.
for YAR'S REVENGE, and it's something.
You heard it.
I did listen to it. It repeats YAR'S REVENGE about a billion zillion times. But it's out there if anyone wants to go find it. Something else in this is YAR'S REVENGE was always supposed to have a sequel, right?
Yeah.
And it sort of kind of does, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a whole convoluted mess.
Not on the 2600 anyway.
Correct.
Yeah.
It has some modern 2600 sequels that are now officially represented or accepted by Atari because they put them on that new Atari gimmick.
The 50th anniversary thing or the VCS, the modern one? Yeah.
So,
I'll get into some of those. I played the YAR'S Returns or whatever.
Yeah. So, it tries to capture more of that Star Castle feel. It's more of a circular thing instead of a left or right thing. Some other things. Like you were saying on the Atari didn't want to put more memory in their games, right?
Right.
This is a 4 kilobyte game, and he was so tight for space. Now, this is one of the things everybody knows. The neutral zone in the middle of the screen is code, binary code from the game, because they wanted to have an effect there, and they couldn't graphically put anything else in. So it's actually part of the code of the game.
It's quite brilliant. I mean, because it does a great job of serving as I won't say barrier, you go through it, but whatever it is,
it's the neutral zone.
Flourish.
Yeah.
And the way the color, so it's actually one of the more colorful graphics you're going to see on the 2600, the way that so many colors cycle through it.
And I took a deep dive into how this is done, and I'm not going to go in depth on it, but what you're seeing is if there's black on the screen, that's a 0 in the binary code. And if there's color, that's a 1. Yeah. And then they shaded that, and it's only every other line of code because Ray was afraid someone would get a hold of this and take it apart and figure out the code by the middle thing. Of course, that never happened.
So Ray was the one that was worried about that happening?
Yes.
So they actually explained this to him then clearly.
Yeah. Well, Howard said, "Listen, Ray, it's fine.
Yeah.
If someone does this, they deserve to have the code." Yeah. It has been tried. It has been tackled in a modern setting where you've got full resolution and can do all kinds of nutty tricks, and it's still not obtainable because it's only every other line of code. And even with all the advancements and know-how, of course, now they can just rip the code open from the cart, right? But if you're actually trying to translate this from the screen, there's not enough information to know what's going on. Something cute, though, the code that is displayed on the screen includes the code to display it on the screen.
Wow, that's trippy.
So I thought that was a fun little thing. Now let's talk a little bit about YAR'S Revenge proper, what kind of game it is.
Yeah.
This is a single screen game where it is only you and the enemy. You start out on the left-hand side of the screen, and on the right-hand side of the screen is the big bad encased in some kind of shielding. It depends on what level you're on. And you can either shoot the shielding and blow holes into it, or you can run up and bump against the shielding. And the way this is explained to the comics is these flies were so proficient at refining materials that they could eat it and then produce weaponry from it.
Yeah.
That's why when you either go up and touch the big bad or eat on his shielding, you will produce a missile at the left-hand side of the screen. So the concept of the game is you have to get through the big bad's shielding and then hit him with the missile that you produce from eating the shielding. And it fires from the left-hand side of the screen. And if it hits any part of its shielding, it does nothing. But if it hits the bad guy, it will explode.
Yeah.
Now, if that was all the bad guy did was sit behind his shielding and wait to die, that wouldn't be any fun. So the bad guy has two major things he can do. First, he can turn into a crawl blade.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
And he'll sit there and spin for a little bit and then fly across the screen at you.
Yeah.
And if he hits you in that thing, you's donezo.
If you get nailed by the glaive in any game it appears in, that's you're done. Nothing beats the glaive.
That's it. But his far more successful attack is he has a homing missile, a homing bullet that will literally just tail you around the entire screen all the time. You can avoid it, you can fly away from it, but you cannot stop it, you cannot shoot it.
You know, what you mentioned earlier, that this was originally supposed to be
Star Castle.
Star Castle.
Yeah.
And you'll recall, that's the way that bullets operate in that game. So now that you clear that up for me, it makes total sense how that's an aspect of the game.
Absolutely. The other thing... other aspect of the game is if you are in the neutral zone, you cannot fire. You cannot fire your normal weapon nor your mega missile. There's too much radiation and interference.
Yeah.
But the crawl blade can hit you in there, no problem, if he's flying across the screen. So at its core, this is a high score game. There is a lot of different ways to play this. You can try to just kill the enemy over and over and over again. You can try to take down his shield to a full extent each time, get points that way. But when you kill the big bad, you get the cinematic explosion, the full screen boom that shows the code in just huge blocks and then kind of melts down to a middle before you go on to the next guy, and it gets a little bit harder each time. Fun game, Aaron.
Yeah.
I know you played this one back in the day.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I love it. It's a great game. I've heard Howard Scott Warshaw say he made the worst game on the VCS and the best game. And I would argue that E.T. is not the worst game.
Correct.
But I would listen to an argument that says this is the best game. It's certainly amongst the best games.
It's up
clever.
there.
It's the fact that you've got several ways to attack is interesting. The enemy shield utilizes breakout technology at some point where it, like, you know what I'm saying, where it scrolls. You know, it reminds me of like the shield in Phoenix that the guy's got that it kind of rotates and does that. So I mean, the shield is cool. Your character looks like something.
Yeah, it looks like a fly.
If you look at this game, if you just look at this game, right, in 2025 as we record this, you could think to yourself, my God, look at this glitchy mess. Because we're not used to games looking like this. But I can tell you, when this thing came out, I believe when this came out, 82 or something like that.
Yes, this was released in 1982.
When this came out, that barrier was real unique looking.
Yes.
I remember thinking about something.
It was special.
That's bizarre, looking. And only after you would pull cartridges out of machines while they were still on, so it saw that stuff and you thought, hey, that's glitchy. You didn't think glitchy back when it first appeared.
Absolutely not.
But I liked the aspect of nibbling away on the shield. I thought that was unique. And I liked having that big nuke in the background you could launch. And it was a satisfying feeling when you took the guy out and you get that big explosion. It was fun, and also the game changed up enough to keep it interesting. So I was a fan of this game, back in the day. I mean, and all my buddies liked it. So I mean, it's one of those games where like I don't know anyone that did. It's a lot like saying a River Raid. Like everyone I knew thought this was a great game. So this was easily a popular game and a popular choice. I was happy you chose this one because this game sort of embodies what made the VCS awesome, which was because the VCS, I mean, I think when they envisioned it, they were like, okay, what can we do with Pong that will keep it fresh and we can spice it up? But ultimately, we're going to be doing mostly that sort of game.
Right.
And so when people got hold of this technology and realized what they could do and how they can manipulate it, they managed to pull miracles. And the games were very different often, very unique. You had to give to get. Like you said, when it comes to getting enough memory to work this game, you had to make certain sacrifices. So that's what made the VCS great. And when they got to the point where they started doing the bank switching and having the bigger cartridges and stuff, and you got stuff like Pitfall 2, for example, or Solaris, some of the huge titles that were awesome, you really could see how much they could squeeze out of this machine that was been worked on since 75. I mean, if you think about it, the prototypes of this game were around in 75, 76, and the machine lasted until 92. And today, people are taking the 2600 and making incredible things on it because it's real popular with homebrew communities because the limitations it sets.
Yes.
So I think what made it popular today with homebrewers is what made it great in its own era with great programmers because they knew how to massage the tech to get what they wanted. YAR'S Revenge is a perfect example of that.
You absolutely had to manipulate, kind of massage the Atari 2600 to really make it sing, and there were developers out there that could do that.
Yeah. And I will say this as a side note. I'm a big fan of Howard Scott Warshaw. He did a series of videos on Atari. I believe it may have been called Once Upon Atari. They were sort of low budget, but he was like the man behind them. He's a real amusing cat.
Yes.
I've heard plenty of interviews with him. Seems like a real down there, like an easygoing guy. He's pretty mellow about his role, and he takes the ET thing in stride because he knew what he did and he knew the limitations he was under when he did it. So it's nice to see a guy like him have a big hit like this. He actually had a couple million sellers. I believe Indiana Jones. Raiders of the Lost Ark, was a million seller too. So
it was.
It's not like this guy just fell out of the turnip truck. He had 3 million plus sellers on the VCS. So he's one of the top programmers. That's all you can say about it.
And you know what he's doing now, Aaron?
I know he was making documentaries.
He is a psychotherapist.
Yeah. One thing about Howard Scott Warshaw, one of these days we're going to cover him in depth. But he also did an interesting documentary I saw on S&M. Like, he runs in a lot of different circles.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
And good for him.
Yeah, I like that kind of guy.
Absolutely. Now, Aaron, I believe we already know what's coming next for Atari Unlimited.
We might know it, but I don't know it at this exact second. I can tell you that right now.
Well, you know what, Aaron?
Look.
I can tell you what it is.
Okay, good.
The most complicated story Atari has to tell.
The most complicated story?
Absolutely.
All right, what is it?
This was the topic, Aaron, that when it hit the board for voting,
yeah,
you said, I'm not researching that, you're on your own.
No, that doesn't sound good for me then. That sounds bad. What is it?
Tengen.
As
we look into the incredibly complex past of Atari and Tengen.
Now, do you want to just, as a quick teaser, to explain what Tengen was, more or less?
I absolutely do not.
Yeah, I know what that means.
Because there is no quick explanation. The short version is this is an offshoot from Atari that Atari planned to do great things with.
And they used it to bypass certain
restrictions.
Yeah, certain restrictions. So we'll get to that one. Let me have a quick look at our calendar here and let you know. So we've missed a week, but we're going to make up for it. So I'm going to say our calendar is going to stay in line with what it has been. So the next Atari Unlimited, Brent, will be coming back, will be November 16th. That will be our Tengen episode. Next week, which is October 5th. No, next week is our October Let's see, November 2nd.
There
Sorry.
you go. You
I'll
got
get there. Is R. Sinclair, and we may double up R. Sinclair and the Coco Show. Coco Show was supposed to be shot today, but like I said, we're a week behind, so you may get double trouble for no shows next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we roll in, and now we're close enough to where we should mention it. And what we should mention is the Thanksgiving Marathon. We're gonna start pitching this thing. For those of you that haven't followed us for years and years, every day after Thanksgiving, we do the Thanks for Giving Marathon. What is the Thanks for Giving Marathon, Brett? This is sort of your baby.
This is just where we say thanks for all of the support that we get throughout over the years. We're not trying to do a subathon. We're not asking you to buy anything. We just want you to come hang out the day after Thanksgiving here in the United States. And Aaron and I sit around. We play a bunch of games. We interact with chat and have just a good old time. It's designed to be, at least for you guys, a no-stress event. Pop in, pop out whenever you want. And we're going to be playing just a ton of games.
We're going to open it up this year. Thanks for Giving is going to be November 28th. I think we usually start that thing about 9 a.m. on...
Probably 9, 10, somewhere in
there.
So
we'll figure that out. But we usually run it right up until Amigos, about 5 o'clock. So we'll run about 7 hours or so that day. So it's always a good time. I always enjoy it. Actually, it'd be longer than 7, more like 9. Please, if you want to mark your calendar for November 28th, the Thanks for Giving Marathon. I'm looking forward to it this year. Once we got past the technical hurdle of running it, I've enjoyed it a lot more.
Of course, we always introduce new technical hurdles.
That's true.
Just like we've done this year.
Don't say that. For God's sake, don't say that.
Real quick, I do want to thank all of our Patreons. And if you want to become a Patreon and help choose the topics for R. Sinclair or Coco Show, or put something on the wheel for ARG Presents, or have a topic get voted on for Atari Unlimited, you can go to patreon.com/the-retro-rotation. Sign up. We'd love to have you, get you access to the Discord channel and all the stuff we've got going on over there.
Also, a big thanks to all of our Twitch subscribers who kick in. We appreciate you guys as well. And anyone that supports us, whether you've chipped in $1 or $2 or not, we're happy just to see you and to participate, to see you in chat. Times are tough. Sometimes you just can't make it happen.
And that's fine.
We're not going to exclude anybody. No. By the way, of course, all of our shows are wide open, including Thanks for Giving Marathon. We don't have any sub stuff. So we're welcoming of all kinds, because everyone, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're up, brother. That's the way it goes.
Just like Atari.
Boy, you got that right. And my thing is, if I get real down, call the Tramiel. That's what I'm going to do. So,
Jack, I'm ready for you to buy me out.
Yeah, so with that thought in mind, we will take this to the house. Thanks for joining us this week on Atari Unlimited. We'll be around next week for something. And until then, make sure you play your Atari.
Okay.
Go. All right, what do you think of that one, Brent? Now you're a seal. I just got a message from Lord Soup. He's watching the Denver game. I wish. I hope the Cowboys do well. Hey, thanks for hanging and banging. Like I said, sorry for us being out of it last week, but like Brent said, Brent had a lot of crazy crap going down. By the way, I saw some of the chat I wanted to ask about. Thank you, by the way, everybody. Thank you so much. Gosh, that's awful nice of you guys. I saw Super Tech Boy was calling this the top banana of the Atari, effectively. And Porta also said he saw the Neutral Zone screenshots. He knew he'd never buy this game. What turns you guys off of this one?
Well, Super Tech Boy was talking about something slightly different, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, Uncle Larry. Okay, I thought you were talking... I'm sorry, Super Tech. I thought you were talking about YAR'S Revenge. I really think this is a fun game. I mean, it is an odd-looking title. And if you look at it today, it almost looks like a graphical, glitchy disaster. It's weird, to look at. But it is a fun game. I always enjoyed it. But it's one of those things. Oh, I see the devs. Okay, good. I know you're a smart boy. Yeah, there you go. I got you now. I'm sorry, I was completely off the mark there. Yeah, I know you love it, Tex. It's funny. I had to warm up to it myself, but once you start playing it, you can really enjoy it.
Yeah, I like that. There's different strategies. I mean, going up and eating the field, the shields rather than shooting them earns you so many more points. But it's so risky in the later levels. Yeah, I think that's a neat aspect of it.
I will say that the remakes, the YAR Returns, and they're good. I've enjoyed all of them. The YAR'S Revenge Recharged or whatever, I thought was real. It was probably the best one. If you haven't tried any of those, I'm fly. If that helps you, I'm pretty fly actually. Well, I think that's another one in the book. So let's talk about next week. What do you want to do?
I think we should try to double.
Okay.
Because, I mean, realistically, the Coco's a 30-minute show.
What are we doing next week? Is it R. Sinclair?
Yeah.
So I'll make you a deal. You research one of the two shows, and I'll do a double.
All right, I'll do R. Sinclair because I'll be setting it up anyway.
Really? You're okay. I'll do the research on the Coco game.
Now, Aaron, something I have to wonder about.
Yeah.
Is it easy to take the scenes I've got for R. Sinclair from my profile and put them on your profile?
It is.
Okay.
But here's what we don't want to do. That.
Okay.
Because
sweet.
I believe my scenes, go up to scene collection and see if all my scenes aren't already here. Because I think they are. In which case, if they are, oh no, what? Huh.
Because remember, two different desktops, two different.
Oh, well, I'll transfer them over so we can have.
Oh no, don't put them. I don't want your clutter on mine.
It's a clutter.
Yes, there is. I don't want that. I'll send mine to you.
Whatever. Whatever it is, your scenes are. You need to have more than one setup. That's your problem. It's better. It's individual setups. I'm telling you.
That's what you think.
It is. It's smoother. It's better. It's better. It's more resourceful for the background.
We both know I'm never going to do that. So.
Well, I know it's because you're stubborn. It's the same reason you do everything. Just because you do the bread style, not the right way.
That's fair.
So,
I accept that.
Yeah. So I guess we'll be back. So here's the routine this week, everybody. Halloween is Friday, Brent. So me and Bode are going to move we're going to move Amigos to Thursday, and we're going to be live in studio on Thursday. A rare live Amigos. It's been forever since probably Boat Fest. It is. It had, and before that, it's been a year, probably the last Boat Fest. We never go together anymore, which I like it better when we're together. So this week, it's going to be Amigos live in studio on Thursday. Me and Rob Flacco Hare will be seeing Halloween out the door as we go live from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to midnight on Halloween with our final show. And then that'll be the 5th show this year. It's the first time we ever did 5 because there's been 5 Fridays. And then me and you will be back. Are we going to start at the same time, 6? Since that's the earliest you can go?
Yeah.
So we'll be back next Sunday at 6 o'clock to do a double.
Well, and don't forget, we have a time change.
That weekend, we fall backwards. So that's right. That's actually better for Europe, I guess, because we'll be check your local listings. We may be on an hour earlier than you think next Sunday on that one. I think that's all we got, man. You want to take this thing and close up shop?
Surely can. Thanks, everybody, for popping in. Hopefully, we'll keep the good times rolling on Atari Unlimited.
I really, really enjoyed researching that show. It was a lot of fun because I'm a passionate Atari 2600 aficionado. It's one of my favorite consoles. Much like the Sinclair, the ZX, it's a crazy mixed bag of gameage on there. So there you go.
Thank you, Scoop. It can't be worse, buddy. Well, I mean, it can. I guess I shouldn't tempt fate there. But yep, we hopefully we'll keep rolling. Get our show back on schedule and not having more interruptions like that.
Very good. Very good. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Until next time, say goodbye to everybody.